'Tis the spooky season, and if you're anything like me, then you're here because you want a horror-themed session for your gaming table. Something that will make your players' skin crawl and their teeth grind of fear. Well, keep watching. We're giving the Red Wizards of Thay an horrifying makeover. Chapter 1. Who are the Red Wizards of Thay? You may be an OG player and already know this stuff, or maybe you're on the younger side of the spectrum and only recall the Red Wizards because of the D&D movie that came out early this year. Either way, it's time for a recap. Far away from the Sword Coast, deep in Faerun, the Thay is a nation ruled by a powerful organization known as the Red Wizards. As the name suggests, they are all magic casters of remarkable talent, albeit blinded in the search for power. For most of their history, whenever anyone, anywhere, thought about the most dangerous magic users in the plains, image of the Red Circle came to their mind. However, things have changed for the Red Wizards. As you may have read in our book, the Thay Encyclopedia, a particularly powerful lich, Sastam, has risen to the top of the organization and completely changed it. Here's a list of his most notable achievements, I guess. First, he pushed the whole organization to become the mecca of necromancy. Secondly, he pretty much unalived half of the country's population and raised them as undead for his labor. And finally, he managed to tilt the war, the everlasting war between Thay and his neighbors, in his favor. So, in case it wasn't clear, thanks to him, the Red Wizards went from just being the country's best known organization to being the de facto rulers of Thay. Are we filled in? Yes. Cool. Now, let's move on. Chapter 2. Why are they perfect for a Halloween one-shot? Do you remember that one thematic game? You may have watched it, you may have played in it, but it's nighttime. Atmosphere, tense, just right. Artist resources, low. Tension, high. The stakes, even higher. And then an ambush of mid-level critters, zombies, skeletons, a ghost or two. You, the DM, thought, I got them. I finally got them. Fast forward 5 turns, the paladin one-shotted every seal that was in front of them with their smites, and the cleric was basically the character equivalent of playing a video game with cheat codes. What a buzzkill. And this happened to us a few times back in the day, and I became determined to giving DMs better tools to prepare in such a case, if they ever created content. So let me explain to you why we think we nailed it with our version of the Red Wizards. In our book, the Red Wizards are not only powerful casters, but they're masters of disguise, subterfuge, expert manipulators who always get what they want one way or the other. On his goal to rise to the top of the societal hierarchy in the Forgotten Realms, Sastam taught the Red Wizards how to be just that. He has turned most high-ranking wizards into liches and devoted the whole organization to improve time and time again the undead they use every kind of work under the sun. His improved rituals make smarter, stronger, more skillful undead soldiers than anyone in any plane of existence. Do you think a Red Wizard will just sit by and wait in a bush for a paladin to come triple smiting his creations all the way to next week? Well, think again. He's not going to let that happen. They're relentless adversaries who will dismantle any group or try to dismantle any group long before they reach a boss room. Having said that, let's discuss the important part of the video, making your players witness true horror. Chapter 3. How to include them in a session. The first keyword here is secrecy. When in foreign lands, Red Wizards commonly work undercover. This means the threat they will pose will have arrived at the place of the adventure way before the party, and will have had time to prepare for a violent takeover of the town or anywhere the session is taking place. This will usually mean the players will arrive at a location where strange things have been happening for a while already. And this can take many forms. Some normal ones are kidnappings, disease, strange noises coming from the woods, a sudden fog that has not let up in days, desecrated temples and shrines, and all of this could be for the purpose of intimidating the inhabitants to leave to conduct a secret or unholy ritual. You know, or just play sadistic experimentation like all of the Red Wizards, because you don't get to be a high-ranking member of the Red Wizards just by being a good person, you know, usually through unaliving or unaliving-related things, like any respectable academic in their view. Second keyword is, or bunch of keywords is, get the tactics right. Speaking of being a good guy and how the Red Wizards aren't, remember what I said at the beginning of the video about a boring battle? Well, yeah, to portray a Red Wizard, you're gonna have to be more creative. But don't worry, here's an idea of how I would do it. First, put yourself in the shoes of a magical master, a person who has reached the pinnacle of power so that now anyone a little bit below him is nothing more than amusement. Remember all the unspeakable acts you were committing when you were playing GTA 5 with cheat codes? Well, the same concept, except the Red Wizard understands that fear, I repeat, fear, not violence, is his key powers, his main weapon against a group of adventurers. They will delve deep into a character's mind and bring all of their little nightmares to life using illusions. Their voice will disorient the players because it's coming from all over the place at battle. He taunts them. They will raise advanced undead to be able to resist the paladin's smites, and the cleric's turn undead features to induce more fear into the players. Now, that's terror. And specifically, I'll give you some common Red Wizard tactics. The first one is that thick fog will surround the battle arena, and this fog is going to be natural. So it's not going to be susceptible to counterspell, spell magic, and there's too much of it to be just dispersed by a normal wind spell. It won't be enough to blind players because otherwise the battle would be very boring, but it should be enough to give disadvantage to all ranged attacks. Or if you want to be more benevolent with your players, you can treat the fog as being giving half cover to everyone with ranged attacks. Secondly, a Red Wizard will cast greater invisibility just before the battle. And the idea here is that the players never know where the Red Wizard is during the battle. That's key. The Wizard will cast Major Image, Silent Image, or any other illusion that you can think of to allow it to lure players away from each other. You want to separate the party. Remember the saying, never split the party? Well, the Red Wizard understands that and he's going to split the party. How? Using their illusions, make the players think that he's somewhere else, so that players have to cover a lot of ground so that he can be able to do the next or his next step, which is once he has lured the players away from each other, every turn, random undead are going to be popping from the ground. And players will have difficulty regrouping or moving because there's so much stuff between them. And this also serves the purpose of keeping them occupied and making them spend their resources on lesser undead instead of, obviously, the Red Wizard. Distraction, subterfuge. And if you're tough for an extra challenge, you can have just one or two undead have the Sentinel so that it makes it very difficult for players to move away from the undead. Now, furthermore, a Red Wizard will only move between the mist using, you guessed it, Mist Step, which is a bonus action. And because the place is surrounded by mist, it will be very difficult for players to organically pinpoint where the hell is the Red Wizard. That's going to make them paranoid. Add to that the illusions that he's going to be playing with, and your players are going to be confused, and before long, they're going to have a tough time even remembering where exactly are they fighting. And now for the kicker. Be sure to counterspell the healing spells and the smites. But don't tell them that the Red Wizard is counterspelling them because they can't see it anyways. Just let them know their spells are not working and have the Red Wizard hunt them every time they try to cast a spell. Let's say the Red Wizard is going to tell them that their gods are not able to help them in this battle. That is sure to at least make the players more paranoid and distrust their god or their allies, or even their own abilities, their key abilities. In other words, can a Red Wizard be jumped by a bunch of people and mauled to death? Sure, like every other person, like everyone else. But will the group get past their tricks, illusions, manipulation, high-level spells, and undead servants? Will the paladin will be able to smite when he loses all hope that there even is a god that is looking at it? Will the cleric will be able to revive their friends now that they have risen as undead? Well, they're welcome to try, of course, but next up, let me give you an example of how to set up a spoopy session, 4th chapter, session 7. First, the players arrive at a small town in a forest. Same old, same old. However, they're not welcome. Every time strangers find their way into town, weird things start to happen, both to adventurers and to the people inside. There are rumors of a new disease spreading around town, and the priest has been sadly targeted by that disease and died. Word is in town that something unholy is literally targeting the people inside. Now, there's a good thing. The priest is no longer alive, but there's a healer. Everyone loves this healer because he treats everyone well, and he actually cures. He's able to sometimes at least cure the disease. Now, that healer is our Red Wizard in disguise. Don't tell the players that yet. Bit secret. The townsfolk love their healer because he treats them well and does his best to save them. And that means that whenever the players are going to start investigating, they're going to be very defensive if the players ever point to the healer as being the culprit. When asked, they will just brush the subject aside. So everyone, well, this is an important thing as well. Everyone who can be cured is buried in a separate cemetery outside the town. The excuse for the healer is that the cemetery provides a safe space for the disease not to spread, but in secret, he's preparing an undead ritual to raise everyone inside the cemetery. At dusk, no one leaves their home, and weird noises can be heard coming from the woods just outside town. At the party's arrival, the nature has suddenly gotten ill and asks the players to help him solve the mystery. He suspects something is up, something's happening, something has to be. No disease behaves like this, and he's afraid that someone might be doing that on purpose. Someone is causing this in his mind. However, he has become very fond of the healer as well, because the healer, a red wizard, is treating him personally. The red wizard, the healer, is always going to be there when the party speaks to the mage. Always listening. Chapter 5th chapter, Resolution of the Mystery. Down in the description of this video, you can download a handout for your players. This handout is a detailed ritual of undead resurrection called the Unbinding of the Grave. After some investigation, the players will find this ritual, perhaps in the healer's home or in his very person if they are clever enough to steal it. Then they'll have to collect all the pieces of evidence related to the ritual to convince the townsfolk, and especially the major, that the healer is actually behind the calamity. The clues we recommend are heaps of clothes and jewelry from the dead people in the house of the healer. At the new cemetery, also, that this is important, inside the little chapel that was built, the holy altar has been subtly desecrated with some symbols that are difficult to find. That means someone is preparing a necromantic ritual there. Next, glass and copper syringes, which are part of the ritual, can be found on some places in the healer's home or have been stolen from, let's say, apothecaries or the priest himself. Embalming tools have also been concentrated on the place where the ritual is going to take place. And the most important thing, something called the blood-shard liniment. That is a requisite for the corpses to be prepared. This is the source of the disease. Someone, you know who, has been poisoning the town's well using this concoction, and this prepares the bodies of the people to be resurrected as undead by the Red Wizard. After the party pieces everything together, the Red Wizard will conjure a sick thought and retreat to the new cemetery. He doesn't want to fight alone, obviously, or near the townsfolk. And now he will be ready to raise as many undead as he can. And he's exactly where he wants to be, in the new cemetery with all of his prepared bodies already there, waiting for the players. Now, when the players follow into the fog, the wizard will use any trick up his sleeve to disorient, torment, moralize, and damage the players before they arrive. What happens after they obviously will leave it up to you. Perhaps you want to tone down how difficult it is to reach the Red Wizard to make them into a memorable boss battle by themselves. Or maybe you could make getting to the wizard the boss battle, turning combat into more of a psychological survival horror, which the players will have to overcome, find and kill the threat with a swift swing of their sword. There's a myriad ways of doing this, and after all, feel free to use any methods. It's your game, and players can be scared by a bunch of different things. Just have fun making it spooky. Change it, twist it, incorporate whatever in your game. The game is yours, after all. We just help you connect yourself to it. 6th chapter, Conclusion. And just like that, your players will have, at the very least, a fun session together with friends, food, drinks, and candy, because it's spooky season. And they might actually be wanting to play more against the Red Wizards and their weird psychological horror tactics. But don't fret. It might be a little bit difficult, but we have just exactly what you need, because we have just written an entire book, actually 2 books, about it that you can find in the DM's Guild. They're called the Thayan Encyclopedia. And be sure to check them out, and you just read them and you can just play them. Inside, there's a bunch of things that you can use. There's magic items, there's stat blocks with creative things for the Red Wizards to make your battles more interesting, more dynamic, and etc. There's also a lot of lore there, the rituals they conduct, how the organization work, and there's a lot of things that you might like to battle a powerful wizard. So with that being said, have fun and happy gaming.